There are so many new AI design tools coming out every single day. What's the difference between all of them, and which one should you use as a designer? Today, I'm going to try to build the same app using every single 0 to 1 AI design tool. In case you haven't met before, my name is Elizabeth, and I run an online design school called Design as a Party, and I'm currently teaching a class called Prototyping with Cursor. Before I get started, I wanted to introduce some constraints. So today, we're only going to be looking at tools that generated the code with a visual preview of the app. So this excludes code editors like Cursor, for example. These tools are typically designed for non-developers to generate a prototype or a first version of a product. With this exercise, I want to answer two questions. How well can these tools build something from scratch with no designs? And how well can these tools change course based on my feedback? With each of these tools, I'll be trying to build a photo booth app from scratch, starting with the same prompt. Let's see what happens when we try the prompt with VZero. Okay, so this is what I came up with. I don't know why I put the instructions here, but let's go ahead and test it out. See, start photo session. It's doing the 3, 2, 1. Oh, it flashes the entire screen. Interesting. And it's also like bouncing for some reason. Okay, cool. So I think that was okay. It did generate a photo strip and it looks pretty cute because it's like on a pink background. There are definitely a lot of questionable design decisions, but I think this is something I can work with. The first thing I want to do is I want to remove this how it works. I think it's pretty self-explanatory, so I'm going to go ahead and see if it can follow a very direct instruction. Okay, so now it only has my video, which is really great. And so now we can iterate more on the chaotic design style that's created for me. So I think right now the design is very dramatic, and so I'm going to go ahead and ask if it can make the designs and the animations 10 times more subtle. So I kind of want to test if it's able to interpret my more vague prompt. Okay, so it listed out all the changes. I don't see very many on this homepage, but let's go ahead and give the photo booth a try. Okay, so thankfully it removed that really annoying like drop animation of the number. And it looks like the background here is also a little bit more subtle too. I'm pretty bothered by the layout, and so I'm going to go ahead and try to get it to change the design of the layout so that it is something a designer at Apple might approve of. Because I didn't explicitly tell it to try to maintain the more playful visual style, it completely decided to change the design to look like an Apple website, which is okay, but I find this pretty boring. It's just copying an existing style. It's also like changed this so there's like a little bit of a blur on top of the image as well. And notice that now this strip is a little bit more subtle as well. It didn't change any of these layout issues where everything is very centered, but it was definitely interesting to see what it came up with. I'm going to go ahead and keep this for now, even though I'm not a huge fan, and I'm going to see if it can add like some filter options. I'm curious what it will do if I ask it to add a new feature. I'm also purposely not saying like all the filter ideas so that I see what types of filters it comes up with. Okay, cool. That took a while, but it looks like it did add some filters. There's a fisheye filter. It looks like none of these actually preview it, and so I wonder if it's possible for it to preview it so that I can see what it looks like before I take the photo. I actually just pressed this button and it had like a suggested response to show live filter preview, and so hopefully it will happen. Cool, so it looks like it did allow me to preview all the filters, although the video is not mirrored, which is totally fine. This one is a really chaotic, but it's pretty cool how I was able to create these filters pretty fast. Next, we're going to try Lovable. Lovable supposedly has better visual design and taste than the other ones, so I'm excited to see what happens. One thing I noticed is that it's giving me a summary of what it's going to do kind of before it starts coding, which is kind of cool. So I'm excited to see if the output is better because of the summary. It looks like their loading screen is fairly generic. It's not pulling from the actual code that is happening, but I honestly feel like most people who use these tools don't even want to look at the code. Okay, interesting. So this one kind of went for more of like a light mode aesthetic. Let's go ahead and test it out to see if it works. Okay, so it didn't do my fun 3, 2, 1 timer, but I think it might be doing everything else. So it generated a photo strip like this. One thing that's interesting is that it's decided to add multiple gradients on the page, which I haven't seen yet. It also didn't implement any of the sounds, so I'm going to go ahead and try asking it to re-implement these features, and I'm hopeful that it might get it right this time. Okay, so it says that it made the changes, so let's go ahead and give it a try. It's kind of funny because it's doing like a kind of like a melodic downward scale. And then it's also, it makes like a little like pew sound when the photo is taken. So that's cool. Next, I want to see if it can generate the 5 image filters. So let's go ahead and see what happens when I ask. All right, let's see how this works. So it's interesting because it actually generated the same exact filters as the VZero one. And so let's go ahead and see. They really don't like adding the preview beforehand. So let's see if it can add that for me. Okay, cool. Now it gives me the live preview of all of these things. It's funny how fisheye always gets so chaotic. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and give Bolt a try. It's funny to me because all these interfaces basically look exactly the same. I'm getting asked some questions. I'm gonna ignore this. I think out of all the ones so far, this one is talking to me the most. Like, it's giving me explicit like checklist of the things that it's actually accomplishing. So it makes like I feel like it feels like it's faster because some of the other ones don't give me much information and I just feel like I'm waiting. So this one is a little bit chaotic because what's happening right now is it's loading into my phone camera for some reason. So I'm going to try to fix this so that we can see a preview. I'm not sure what's going on with this one, but you'll see that my face is kind of flashing randomly. It's also destroying my computer. Like my fan is like really, really going. So I don't know if I'll be able to fix this using Bolt, but you can see that I kind of try to go for a visual style with the light background and the gradient text as well. So I actually haven't tried Google AI Studio yet, so I'm excited to see what happens. I'm going to go ahead and try the same prompt again. I think my big issue with this Google one is that it's just so ugly. They're using like Google material design and it does not look very aesthetically pleasing to look at. So I'm a little scared of what the app will actually look like. Okay, let's go ahead and try this one out. So it's saying this really does look like it's using material design, which is scary. It chose an orange background, which is kind of ugly, but nothing is happening right now. I'm going to try to reload the app. Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but I don't see anything. The app is full screen. I still don't see anything. So I'm going to try to fix it. I still have no idea what's going on with this one. I'm honestly kind of scared of Google products. There's so many buttons everywhere in the code and this window. I don't know what's going on, but hopefully I can fix it so we can see what it looks like. I'm going to try reprompting the Google one and see if we can get it on the second try. And it looks like this. It definitely looks a lot more dated already for some reason, especially because of the drop shadow and this purple button. Let's go ahead and see how it works. So it's taking the photo, and I'm curious if it's gonna actually show me a little photo strip. It looks like it didn't get that far, so that's interesting. And then now it's saying, oops, something went wrong, not enough photos captured. So after it did the first version, I basically reprompted it with the same bulleted list I had last time, and it looks like this time it finally took the font that I wanted. And it also kind of changed up the visual style a little bit. So let's go ahead and see if it has done all the changes that I requested. So it's like taking the 3 pictures and there is a countdown. There is no sound, however. It also makes me press the take my picture button every single time. And it's creating a fabulous photo strip now. It looks like it didn't work. Oh, there it is. Oh, but it's like flashing. You probably saw it for a brief second, but it looks like it generated a photo strip very, very quickly in the correct style. Yeah, so it looks like this. Let's go ahead and test the image filter options on Google AI Studio as well. Okay, so it looks like it only generated like filters, not necessarily like the distortion one, like the fisheye one. So it looks like this is the Mono Noir. Fuji Dream looks exactly the same as no filter. Sunset Glow also looks exactly the same. And so does Cyberpunk Haze. Okay, so I fixed it. So this is what all the filters look like. The green one is pretty funny. I feel like it should be renamed the Hulk. So Figma Make is still in beta, but I'm excited to try it out and see how it goes. So again, putting in the same prompt here might take a second. So this one is also doing the thing where it generates all the code on the right side and it doesn't really have a different loading state. And so I'm curious if they're going to move towards something more like VZero or lovable where there's kind of just more of a generic loading state. Okay, so Figma Make kind of went with this like very bright pink aesthetic, which is fun. It looks like it won't be able to access my camera until I publish it, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so it looks like it's going. It did a really fun gradient thing. The sounds are working. The page is shifting quite a bit. I'm not sure why, but I do like how the sounds are working. Okay, cool. And then there was a big flash at the end, and none of my images are loading here. I'm asking Figma Make to introduce the image filter options as well, so I'm going to see how well it interprets those. At a glance, I can tell that it's done fisheye film and Fujifilm, which is the ones that I recommended, and then it's also added something called Kawaii Dream and a vintage Polaroid. So the Figma one updated, but I don't see any of the filters. I'm curious if they put it like after I take all the photos. So I'm just letting the photos run right now so I can see if the filters show up. I don't see the filters, so I'm gonna go ahead and try to fix this. Okay, cool. So now it shows the filters up here, which is what I wanted. And like everything else, it's not showing me a preview of the filter. So I'm gonna go ahead and ask it to do that. Okay, so Figma kind of created this weird situation with these like buttons now, but I do like how I'm finally able to preview this. They're also the only one to create like this fun frame for the vintage style. And they also added a kawaii dream aesthetic. After trying all these tools, I think VZero is probably the best in terms of functionality and trying to make an app that actually works. However, from a creativity standpoint, it seems to follow more rules. So I think if you're using like a popular design library like ShadCN, it might do a better job of creating a design system. It wasn't as creative with my visual design direction. Lovable seems the most visually modern, mostly because it seems to reduce the number of drop shadows. There aren't any on this page whatsoever, and the alignment on the page overall feels a lot more clean and feels like it's following some sort of grid system. I unfortunately couldn't get Bolt to work, but you can see that it also tried to do something different with the gradients and kind of played around a little bit with gradient text. So it took me 2 tries to get Google AI Studio working, but I do like what it came up with here with Cyberpunk Haze. Visually, it feels a lot more dated, but it looks like it's following some sort of grid system at least, but it really does love a heavy use of drop shadow. Figma Make is still in beta, but I did like how it was fairly experimental with the typography, making these like flashy animations, which doesn't look great, but I feel like if I iterated on it, it could look interesting. I also liked how it added a kawaii dream style along with the frame on the vintage style as well. Which 0 to 1 AI design tool is your favorite? Put your answer in the comments below.